Yeah, g'day YouTubers. Tinker O'Toole again here with another video. We've been playing around with one of my own profiles and I like to call it V-cut. This is what it looks like. Hold it like that, you'll see that the angle is 90 degrees. Whereas on Hexa, it's a little bit different. It's 120 degree spacing. So we'll just have a look at a Hexa profile. You can zoom right in there and have a bit of a look for those that maybe not too familiar. So that's what it looks like. You see that that angle comes down the side plate at a 65 degree angle. And then on the down angle on the side plate, right down to the bottom here, you can see that spacing of the 100, that's the 120 degree spacing there. So the only other thing that Hexa's got going for it is that it's got a narrower kerf. And if we have a look at the width of the tooth at the widest point, which is this part here, it's 4 millimeters wide. Standard full chisel chain is 4.5 millimeters wide. What I've been playing around, this is another example that I just duplicated on a full chisel chain. That's just another Hexa type profile that I sort of did. That's just copying the Hexa profile with 4.5 millimeter wide tooth. Not a lot of deal of difference in time. Yes, it is quicker. And what I'm sort of finding out that what makes Hexa probably work a little bit better than a standard full chisel is that narrower kerf. Is that narrower kerf, it's a 0.5 millimeter, which is more than 10% smaller. So the saw, the RPM of the saw and the horsepower, it pulls the chain through a lot easier with a reduction of a narrower kerf. Now, before I just showed you this tooth here, and that's your 90 degrees, and that's exactly what that looks like. So you can see that that angle goes down to the side plate a lot more. Right, you can vary that, but again, the variation doesn't really sort of show a lot difference in the test results of cutting timber. So when we compare these two here, and we'll just zoom back out there. When we compare these two here, the typical full, they're both full chisel as you can see, and you've got the C shape and then you've got this profile here. What's the most important, and it doesn't matter what chain that you got, is this area around the point of the tooth. So it's virtually, this 2 millimeters really does all the work, because what happens when it comes along and digs into the timber, pushes that down like that, and this lifts the chip of the wood out. So this bottom area really doesn't do much except sever a few fibers here and there. It's that pointy end, which is what we refer to the working corner, that does all the work. So that's where the geometry really helps a lot. And as I said, the Hexa is a lot narrower by roughly 10%. It's probably more like 12%. And it seems to help a little bit. So what we'll do is just show you a full chisel cutting through a log, a a full chisel cutting through a log, a Hexa cutting through a log, and a V-cut cutting through the log. And we'll just look at the times, and we'll sort of just evaluate that after. The only thing that I would say, then if you look on Still's website, they turn around and say that Hexa was developed for the forestry industry. It cuts 10% faster. I tend to probably agree with that in most cases. You can get variation. Sometimes it only cuts 7% faster. Sometimes I've seen it cut 12% faster. It depends on the timber that you're cutting too. So that all plays a major part. It's not just the profile of the tooth, it's the type of timber you've got, how seasoned it is or how green it is. But the other thing that I've noticed with that hexagonal type profile that's on the side plate is that it seems to stay sharper by up to 10 to 20% longer. So in between sharpenings in the field, I find out with that longer side plate, as we've got this longer point as it comes down the side plate, it definitely seems to last a lot longer. And the variations are different between Husqvarna's X-Cut. It's a bit more aggressive. Rather than 60 degrees top plate cutting angle, they have a 40 degree top plate cutting angle. And what they do, this section here on the Husqvarna, then it starts to have that C shape coming down. So it's a little bit different. And yes, it does work good. I've got that as well. But they're not a game changer. All these chains that are different are not a game changer. I definitely would say there is a big difference between semi-chisel performance and Hexa. Hexa would probably be about 20% faster than semi-chisel. Now, 20% is a huge gain, but the downfall is semi-chisel is more durable. It'll last a lot longer between sharpenings, because also the semi-chisel has a rounded working corner on it. And it's that rounded working corner that stays sharper for longer. So when we look at that semi-chisel, you look at that rounded corner there. There's a big difference between that rounded corner and that pointy corner. So this pointy, any type of tooth that has a pointy corner like that is going to go much blunter than something that's got a nice rounded corner like that. So that's where all the work is done. That's what we refer to as the working corner. So we'll have a look at 3 videos. We'll look at full chisel. We'll look at the V-cut that I sort of use and look at the time that it takes to cut through the same log. And then we'll look at Hexa. And then I'll sort of just have a bit of an overview of that. Okay, so it was interesting when I was doing that sort of test. There wasn't a lot of difference between the V-cut and the full chisel, but I've had it at times where the V-cut did perform up to 10% faster than the standard full chisel. And I've had it also before where the Hexa has performed up to 14% better cutting times. So I've had a variation between, 5% better up to 12% better. Every time that you do it, you'll get a different number or a different figure. But what you're generally looking for, that if you do it 3 or 4 times, and I normally will cut about 4 pieces of timber, but I'm only showing once in the video. So I'll normally do it, 3, 4, 5 times. And then sort of evaluate it and get the stopwatch and sort of get an average of those 4 or 5 cuts. So, and it depends on how sharp that you sharpen at the time, and you check the rakers. So all of those things all come into play. But that said, you will find out that even though you spend as much time as possible in the preparation to make sure they're all sharp, the rakers are the same, normally the chain that works better will always come out on top with the stopwatch and will cut faster. If you use a different type of saw, a more powerful saw, you'll find out that obviously your times will be reduced, and if you use a saw that's not as powerful, the times will increase. So all of that all comes into play. The only thing that I would say is definitely Hexa cuts a little bit better. Now, I only use full chisel in clean timber. If you use full chisel or Hexa or the V-cut in dirty timber, that's going to blunt extremely quick. So normally what would happen when I go out in the field, I'll always take semi-chisel with me, and if there's some dirty timber that has to be cut, I'll swap over to the semi-chisel. But when I'm at home, certainly when I'm cutting them in the yard where it is nice and clean, I'll always use the full chisel, and I'll use a combination of full chisel, Hexa, or V-cut. So the V-cut does work a little bit better, not by a huge amount. I think the conclusion is that if you've got a narrower kerf, it'll definitely cut a little bit faster in a smaller powered saw. In a larger powered saw, like an MS660, you'll probably find that the times aren't that big. So that test that I was doing was using an MS380, a fairly old saw, so it's a little bit tired. So the times are a little bit increased. If I was using a 500i or a 660 or something like that there on a 20-inch bar, so we're using a 20-inch bar, you would find out that the times would be reduced and the times would be different. So if Hexa was the best type of profile out there, would all be using it. Simple as that. So there is no chain that or profile that I know of that everybody says, hey, I'm buying this because this works the best. Some people will turn around and tell you that they prefer Oregon chain over anything else. Other people will tell you that they prefer steel chain over everything else. Other people might tell you they like Carlton chain better than anything else. It's a bit like cars. Everybody's got their favourite. So I don't lean towards steel because I think it's better than everything else on the planet. I generally lean towards steel because, and even Husqvarna is okay as well, but I generally lean towards steel because I can find anything that I buy that's steel, whether it's chain, grinders, weed whackers, chainsaws. I've got 2 local stores here where I live, so I can go down there and I can order parts and they're here by next week. In 3-4 days they're here. But if I buy some other brand that I might find out that I can't get parts so easily. And that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I really do like steel. They are a professional saw, and you can get parts relatively easy. There's over 600 steel dealers here in Australia. So that just goes to show you, and you won't find you don't have 600 Husqvarna dealers either. We do have 2 dealers as well where you can get Husqvarna, but they don't have a huge range of chainsaws or anything else for that matter. It's a bit of a mixed business. Whereas most of the steel dealers is not mixed business. Most of the steel dealers here are steel dealers. There are a few, even some of the bigger ones, that do have a bit of mixed business. But nonetheless, I do think that there's many other chains out there that are equally as good as steel. So it's just that I like steel and I lean towards it because of that reason. Anyway, look, I hope that little shootout may help some people out there. Only one final note to say that the best chain for you is the one that you find that works best for you, irrespective of what anyone else turns around and tells you. What works for you is the best, and it's pretty much that simple. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.